Hi guys. Okay, today continuing in the ground pounder series on a day when the heat temps are 99 and the humidity is somewhere pushing it well over 105. We're going to do a little trick that I used to do to use a canteen cup stove. Now, those of you that have followed my channel know I'm a big fan of the old canteens. I recently picked up a metal one to go with my 1910 carrier. But also, I'm a big fan of the canteen cup and canteen stove. Now, back in my day, whenever I was using this a lot, this was my entire cook set, right there. And just like I'm doing right now, I would take that clip. That's a copy of a 1910 Cavalry. It's got a clip up here. I would clip it to a belt loop or clip it to a strap or clip it to a whatever to do it quickly. But the focus today is going to be on the canteen cup. Now, I did an entire video talking about the canteen cup already and its mods and stuff like that. Get it there. Alright. But this, the canteen cup stove, this is my favorite stove, as you can tell by the use of this. Now this type will stick on to the actual cup. And like I said in the past, if I'm going to be cooking relatively slow, okay, I want to put something in here and I don't want to just heat it. I want to cook it. Let's say I'm cooking squirrel and rice on a hunting camp or something like that, where I'm putting raw meat in here and I'm going to brown it in the bottom. I want low coals for that. So this advantage is I'm not going to put little sticks and stuff in there for that. All I'm going to do is rake up a pile. I'm going to have a fire. I'm going to rake me up a pile of coals and then set this on top of it so I can regulate the heat. And then with a flattened stick, I'll use it to brown the meat on the bottom. When the meat is browned like I want, then I'll add the water. Then I will add the rice and start the boiling. So maybe then I want to transform to flame, and that's what we're about to do. If I'm going to do a quick meal with this where I want boiling, I'm not going to stick this on. I'm going to use this as a stove and set the pot on it sideways like that to capture the heat and still be able to easily feed in small sticks, things like that, to make it work as a stove and build a fire. So, if you find a cleared out space out here in the sand, someplace it's not going to hurt nothing, and I'm going to build a quick fire in this and show you how I do that. Because if you're just wanting to stop and heat up a cup of coffee, heat up some hot chocolate, heat up some water for a ration. Now I've showed here recently where I get those complete meals from Walmart or the grocery store that are all kinds of flavors. There's like 15 or 20 different varieties of them. Everything from chili all the way up through chicken and turkey and dressing and stuff like that. And I can immersion heat that. And that's what I did at the Pathfinder gathering, to be honest. I just used a Transia in one of these cups. But you sit up there and you get it going and you stand the cup up in it. You stand the meat up in it, in that container, and just let it sit there and boil. And by doing that, it will generate the heat necessary. And you pick it up and turn it around the other way after a few minutes, something like that. Say 5 or 10 minutes after it's boiling and it's nice and hot. But what's more, if it's winter, I heat my meal up and I pull it out and I've still got clean hot water, right? Because that was food grade. That entire package is food grade. So there's nothing in here that ain't. I can now turn around and pour coffee, tea, whatever, into that hot water and make a second whatever. If I don't want a liquid, suppose then I throw something in here to boil it for a second. So I've got a hot meal and I've got a side dish of some other kind of rice or something. Or I can throw macaroni in there, make macaroni and cheese real quick. There's a lot of quick, just add water things that I could throw a handful in there and have it as a side dish to my main meal, right? So that's what I did a lot of back in the Rice-A-Roni was a favorite in those days because it was something I could throw into this. Instant rice with bouillon cubes was a quick, easy favorite. So was things like take jerky and dice it up in the water and let it boil for like 15 minutes with a bouillon cube and then add rice to it. Or add instant mashed potatoes. I've done that. Camp potatoes is simply instant mashed potatoes with brown gravy already mixed dry with the dry tater, so when you combine it, you get a flavor. Super simple and easy. So, let me get set up and I'll show you that right quick. Okay, I went and picked up 3 big handfuls of tiny little twigs. Okay, I want relatively straight. I clean me out of place. I'll put down my stove. Now I could take a piece of fat wood, shave it off, put in there. I could take several different means, but the game is I want to produce a flame that I can build upon. So I'm going to use one of these pre-made up tabs, pre-made up wax discs. Handy, quick, and for this it works just fine. As long as you don't cross thread it putting it back. Now we're just going to stretch it just a little bit. Tear it, hit it, drop it down there. I want it to one side. Now I'm just going to simply take some sticks and start leaning them to that side, like this. This is a twig fire. Real quick, real easy. Nothing real fancy. Now since we like chaos, there's plenty of air in that. Now on this end, we're going to set our canteen cup and we're going to add a water. About 3/4 cup. And that piece of pine and that piece of bark don't hurt nothing. Now we let it start cooking. Now notice, by putting it on this way, I'm still getting air draft. A lot of people want to stick the sticks in this little opening down here. But I want that to be an air draft. See the flames coming up? Around that cupped front base of that D? That's what I want. So that as this turns into cinders, I rake it underneath, or directly underneath. This keeps my handle cool, but it keeps the fire focused in one area. See? Now I can back off and let that go. As you can see the sweat dripping off of me already. Won't take it but just a couple of minutes and it'll bring that water to a good boil. Now the only maintenance I got to do to it is, once it burns down, is reach into the hole and rake it more underneath the cup. See? And then just take some more sticks on this side. You don't want Y sticks, you want straight sticks. Lift the cup up, drop them on top, put it back. Just like that. Keeping this back edge sealed up so I don't get any heat onto my handle. And there we go. It's sitting there burning, cooking, heating up that water. Relatively easy, relatively no muss. Now when I get done with this, what am I going to have? A little circle of ash. That's going to be it. I make sure that everything is put out and that nothing burns. See? I don't have a wildfire problem or anything. I want to control it. Plus, I don't give off much smoke when this thing gets good and hot and going. Like that. When you got the good old hat, give it just a little light fan. See how the flames, see I've got the wind coming from that way toward me, and so the flames come up and over the top of it. I'm already hearing the water start that sound like it's getting that kind of hot. Just push down, add a few more sticks. See how simple that is? Quick, easy, no muss, no fuss. Hope you can see through the smoke. Now, as hot as it is, I don't want to build a big fire. But this way, I've got a focused fire in a very small area, well contained, and with very little effort, I can keep this thing burning. A lot of people want to set it across the top. That smothers it. This way, I can constantly keep feeding in sticks. See? My atom fell out, I put it in the side door. I'm starting to see convection currents inside the water now. Usually 3 handfuls of little bitty sticks is more than sufficient to boil or bring a cup up as hot as you're going to want. It's one of the reasons that when I set this up, I put the opening door to me on this side, so I can put little burning slivers back in and fan air into it if I need to. Alright, I'm seeing bubbles forming on the bottom of the cup right now. And there we have a boil. Nice low, just what I'd want for hot coffee, hot soup, whatever. I wanted a rolling boil, I could fan it up with even more, but 3 handfuls was more enough to bring it up to a low boil. And that's all I needed. So how quick and easy was that? 3 handfuls of little bitty teeny tiny sticks. Something to start the fire with. A piece of fat lighter would do just as good as those cotton pads, but I had them handy. All you gotta do is light it, stick it, and then feed in those sticks. Only about 3 good handfuls like that is more than enough to boil a canteen cup with water in it. Now, if you want a hard boil, just keep adding, keep fanning it. It'll come up. By putting that window on the right hand side, I let the air draft in. It's also where I put my sticks in. I should have also on the bottom left side cut a little gap underneath the wall so air can draft in that side as well. That way air comes in from 2 directions and you get a more focused heat. I didn't do that. I just sat it flat on the ground like you saw and did it, and therefore it only came in one side. So occasionally I would add a little bit of hat action like you saw to fan it back up. But even then, no big deal. Now my fire is going out right now. I would now pull that canteen cup for hot coffee, hot chocolate. I would have made my hot immersion heat dish, whatever. And I would be sitting over here away from the fire, taking time to cool off, eat, digest, rest. I want that completely out, dead, graveyard dead, before I go. If I've got a water source, I'll bring water up here and put it out. If I do not have a water source, I will dig a little hole, put the ashes into it, stomp them so they are flat and there is no smoke coming off everything. Smother it. Bury it, and I will still be over here eating for the next 20-25 minutes. Keeping an eye on that. Making sure it's not going to be a problem. I live in an area with sandy soil. There's no peat. And you can't bury a fire in peat because it'll run through the ground. So know your terrain. But down here in my red clays and sandy soils, you can bury a fire. And my preferred way to do it is actually to pull up a mound of sand or dirt and make a mound. Put this on top of it. Now whenever I get done and it's burned down to ash, I can broadcast that and you can't even tell where I've been. Or I can roll it from the top down and roll the mound over it and bury it. Even quicker for me to get back on the trail. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please leave any questions or comments below. And thank you very much for supporting my channel. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.